Here's a little parenthesis, just a little bitty one. Unfortunately, most persons come to Christ, and most persons get serious about the Word of God and the will of God at a later time in their life. Much of what we do learn during the 1 hour of sermonizing on Sunday morning is vastly different from that which we see lived out during the other 160 plus hours of the week out in the real world. One such area where this is dreadfully so is in the area of leadership. And I'm about to wrap up my parentheses with this. I would say to you this morning that the overwhelming majority of homes in America today are sorely missing godly, spiritual leadership. Let me do that again. New Life Instant Replay. The overwhelming majority of homes in America today are sorely missing godly, spiritual leadership. And many come into the church having endured such an upbringing. Does that make sense to you? That's the baggage that they bring into the church. I want you to answer this in your own heart. Certainly, I don't want you to speak this out loud this morning, but to the daddies who are in attendance here at New Life on this Sunday, to you daddies who are gathered here this morning, can I ask you, are you exercising godly, spiritual leadership in your home? To you mommies who are gathered here today, mommies, are you exercising godly, spiritual leadership in your home? Now, sometimes the teenagers and the children think that we're kind of leaving them out during church. But I'm telling you, we're not leaving them out. I think they're an integral part of what takes place around here. And to the teens and young adults who are gathered here today, and I'm not real sure what a young adult is. I guess it's an adult that's young, and you can figure out what all that is. But to the teens and the young adults who are in attendance here this morning, do you understand? Do you understand godly, spiritual leadership and how you must duplicate it for your generation? You see, quite often we have this, I don't know what it is, some ideology that is noised abroad, that children and young people, they're just supposed to go out and sow their wild oats and live stupidly. And then at some point in time, somebody's going to flip a switch and they're all just going to be, experiencing life very successfully when they become older adults. Let me help you young adults understand something. The things you do today, the little things you do today, whether spiritually, financially, emotionally, in your love life, the little things you do today is going to make a huge difference in the rewards that you reap and the consequences that you reap in the days to come. This sowing wild oats thing, let me tell you what happens when you sow wild oats. You reap a wild reward at some point in time, and you really don't want to go there. There are a lot of people here this morning that could talk to you about that. And quite often young people look at us older folks and say, oh, what do they know? They don't live in this real world today. They don't know anything about life today. Let me tell you, youngin', something. Do you know that I used to be young? I've got some pictures to prove it. One of the most, and I'm getting way off base here this morning. I'm not real sure where this come from, but when I was in Bible college, the professor of our institution stood up during chapel one day, and he used to preach like this, and he had this kind of a voice like that, and he said, young people, I want you to listen. It wasn't quite like that, but that's kind of what I was hearing. He said, I've been where you are, but you haven't been where I am. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, Terry, you're not the smartest fellow in the world, but that makes a whole lot of sense right there. He has been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, supersized, whatever you want to call it. Can I encourage you young people to know that if you live long enough, you're going to be old, and the things that you do today are going to make a tremendous difference in your life in the future? Get a hold of these principles about godly spiritual leadership and how it's to be lived out in your life and in the home and in the church. It'll make a big difference. Are you with me? Beloved, if